Hare Krishna. So I was thinking there would be a verse, but since there's no verse, we'll just begin the talk and probably the next time I thought there would be a verse, so I didn't choose any. So this morning we are about to begin a 5-part lecture series on the Mahabharat, and we'll have more esteemed speakers speaking in the series. Tomorrow we'll have Krishna Dharma Prabhu, who's written the book and is an authority on the Mahabharat. So we'll have him speak. But the series is a very interesting series. The Mahabharat itself is a very interesting book, and it makes a great read for a lot of people. It's intriguing, it's involving. There's a lot of, tragedy, romance, and all kinds of emotions, and including the highest emotion of Krishna consciousness in the Gita, which appears in the Mahabharat, is there. So it definitely makes a very interesting read. And a lot of television producers, cinema producers, Jai Shri Radha Gokulanand ki, Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki, have capitalized on this book and have made television serials. Years back, B.R. Chopra in India made the Hindi serial Mahabharat, and it made a great hit. In fact, you would not find anyone on Sunday morning when the serial was on. No one would be out there. Everyone would be watching the television serial. And even today, there is a serial going on, television serial, a new one, new version of it. This is a third attempt to make Mahabharat, and it is just extremely captivating, and everyone's mind and attention is caught. So definitely it's a very interesting book, and over the next 5 talks, we will see how things get revealed and how different dimensions come up from the Mahabharat. In his Niti Shastra, Srila Prabhupada would quote the Niti Shastra of Chanakya Pandit a lot. And in his Niti Shastra, Chanakya Pandit says, how does an intelligent man pass the time in his day? Chanakya Pandit advises, Pratah Dyuta Prasangena, Madhyanna Striya Prasangena, Ratrau Chaura Prasangena, Kalau Gachati Dhimatam. Dhimatam means a person who is extremely intelligent. And Kalau Gachati, passing of time. How does an intelligent person pass his time through the day? Pratah Dyuta Prasangena. In the morning, such an intelligent person discusses gambling. Madhyanna Striya Prasangena. Midday, such a person discusses woman. And Ratrau Chaura Prasangena. At night, he discusses burglary, stealing, looting, thieves. In this way, an intelligent person passes his day. What a noble way to pass the day, isn't it? In the morning, discuss gambling. In the afternoon, discuss woman. And in the night, discuss about stealing and thievery and looting and burglary. So then Chanakya Pandit, of course, explains what that means. In the morning, an intelligent person discusses the Mahabharat. Because the Mahabharat includes the gambling of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So that's the scripture to be discussed in the morning, Chanakya Pandit says. Of course, we have the Bhagavatam, the highest scripture. In the afternoon, Chanakya Pandit says an intelligent person reads the Ramayana, because that is where you find the kidnapping of Sita. So it's not any just discussion on woman, but how the Sita is kidnapped. So Ramayana is discussed in the afternoon. And in the night, an intelligent person discusses the Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, we do the other way. We discuss in the morning Srimad Bhagavatam. But Chanakya Pandit says in the night, one discusses Srimad Bhagavatam about the butter-stealing pastimes of Krishna. Thief, stealing and looting. So an intelligent person passes the day by beginning to discuss and study Mahabharat, in the afternoon Ramayana, and the evening the Srimad Bhagavatam. So once when I was talking this, one man in the audience asked, so when will he go to work and earn money? If he just continues to read Mahabharata and Bhagavatam and Ramayana, when will he do that? So it doesn't literally mean to read the books like that, but it means to understand the principles from these books, like the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and to dwell on these principles, and to learn how to apply these principles in one's day-to-day life. In practical life, while one is living in the world out there, there is so much less possibility of even reading Srila Prabhupada's books. When one is in family life, working hard, morning till evening there is work, then there are family obligations. And then therefore it's such a good thing that in our temples we have the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav courses. on the weekends at least, so devotees can come and study Srila Prabhupada's books. Oh, there is enough to study. There is enough to study. There is so much to read. Srila Prabhupada's books, 18 volumes of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 17 volumes of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Bhagavad Gita, so many of his lectures, so many of his conversations, so many teachings given by Srila Prabhupada. And we find that the day is short, especially with so many obligations outside. And then we say we should read Mahabharat, we should in the morning, Ramayana in the afternoon, Bhagavatam in the evening. Of course, it definitely means that we have to focus on trying to understand these principles and apply them in our lives. So in the night it is of course said one should read the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada also said this. Then in the night one should read the Krishna book and dwell on the sweet pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. Krishna's pastimes are very sweet, extremely charming, especially his pastimes as a child. Children are very innocent. Children are very innocent, and innocent children are extremely charming. One time a little girl went to a shopkeeper and said to the shopkeeper, how do I look? She's only 4 years old. And then the shopkeeper said, you look very pretty. Very pretty. You said, I look very pretty, right? So will you marry me to your son when I grow up? Children, isn't it? Very innocent. So the shopkeeper said, yes, but I will marry you to my son when you grow up. Don't worry. So then the little girl said, so since you will get me married to your son anyways, wouldn't you give a free chocolate to your to-be daughter-in-law? Children are innocent. They are very pretty. They are very charming. So you can imagine even a child of this world with its pretty pranks and its innocence can charm the heart so much. One can imagine Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when he performs his childhood pastimes. How charming those pastimes would be. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada recommended that in the night, devotees should read Krishna book, which is basically give such incredible impressions and samskaras to the mind of Krishna's pastimes, that when we dream, the mind that brings up all these impressions that have gone for so many lifetimes, and there is a better substitute, a transcendental spiritual substitute for our dreams. Everyone in the world says before night, good night, sweet dreams. Krishna's dreams are truly sweet dreams, And therefore Srila Prabhupada said, one must try and read Krishna's pastimes. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, what a laborious task. Srila Prabhupada knew that whether he would be there or not to translate the Srimad Bhagavatam, he first gave the Krishna book, the 10th canto, a summary study of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam in Krishna's pastimes. Now when it comes to Krishna's pastimes, our acharyas have given a lot of analysis of it, but we can't always analyze Krishna's pastimes. Krishna's pastimes have to be appreciated. Therefore when we talk about the 10th canto is more for appreciation than analysis. Like I heard a devotee say, don't try to test Krishna, try to taste Krishna. We always put Krishna to test. Why did Krishna do this? Why did Krishna do that? Why did Krishna perform the Ras Leela? Why did Krishna do it in this way? Why did Krishna kill this demon in this way? Yes, our acharyas have definitely given understanding and analysis to that. But more than always testing Krishna, Krishna is not meant to be tested. He is meant to be tasted. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam, particularly the 10th canto, particularly the pastimes of Krishna, particularly his childhood pastimes in Vrindavan, particularly his pastimes with the gopis of Vrindavan, are more meant to be appreciated than analyzed. And if we get into the anartha of simply, I shouldn't use that word anartha, if we get into the psychology simply of analyzing those pastimes, then we may intellectually try to put it in blocks. But we forget to relish those pastimes. Therefore, 10th canto, Bhagavatam, is meant for appreciation. And then there is the Ramayana, which Chanakya Pandit recommends. Ramayana is a book which is definitely appreciation is there, but it is more meant for application. Whereas Bhagavatam is more meant for Krishna's pastimes, more for appreciation and relish. Ram's pastimes are more for application, because Ram is Maryada Purushottam. Lord Krishna being Leela Purushottam, how can you imitate his pastimes? If someone starts doing Ras Leela, in, Bushi. Krishna does it in the groves of Vrindavan. If someone starts doing Ras Leela in the groves behind the bushes of Bushi, with some of the British ladies of England, my God, Srila Prabhupada used to say, then that is not Ras Leela. He would say that is Rascal Leela. Prabhupada would say, then you can't call that Ras Leela, obviously. So one cannot apply what Krishna did. One can appreciate what Krishna did. One cannot apply in one's life what Krishna did. If one applies in life what Krishna did, we are in for serious trouble. Therefore our acharyas have said, we should try and follow Krishna's words in the Gita and follow Ram's example. We can't follow Krishna's example. If we follow Krishna's example, Krishna is killing the demons, is telling the gopis, I'll come back, breaking his promise, is telling Karna now, Arjuna, the chariot wheel is stuck, you kill Karna, is telling Bhima, you hit Duryodhana under the thigh. Mahabharat, Where's the promise? The person who establishes the highest dharma, how can he live by these kind of adharmic principles? Immediately there is a confusion in the mind. Therefore our acharyas have said, if we have to follow, we should follow Krishna's words, which is the philosophy of the Gita, and follow Ram's example, because Lord Ram sets maryada. He sets limitations in how to behave in this world. Therefore, if 10th canto Krishna's pastimes are meant for appreciation, then Rama and Ram's pastimes are meant for application. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj recently in his Ram Navami lecture at Chowpatty was mentioning an amazing story. I've never heard that story. It was a beautiful story, incredible story. And the principles of application, how to serve the Lord, how to serve the Guru, are brought up so well, After the battle was over, Ravan was defeated. They were all coming back and Ram met Agastya Muni. And Ram was saying, see how I killed Ravana, brought Sita back, and we were victorious. I brought that victory. Agastya said, wait a minute, Lord Ram. You could not have won the battle without Lakshman. It was only Lakshman who was responsible for your victory. Now Ram didn't want to listen to that. He said, I fought against Ravan, I killed Ravan, I beheaded him. He said, you could only kill Ravana. The only possibility of destroying and killing Ravana was if Indrajit, the son of Ravana, was killed. If Indrajit wasn't killed, oh, what a powerful warrior he was. He wouldn't allow you to even reach Ravana. So Ram said, so what's the big deal with Indrajit? I could have just thought and killed him, What's the big deal? I could have killed him just by my thinking, by my sankalpa. Agastya Muni said, wait a minute, Ram. There's a hitch there. The only person who could kill Indrajit, he had a boon. The only person who could kill Indrajit was a person who was a brahmachari for 14 years and who was a nirahari for 14 years. Brahmachari means he followed the principles of celibacy for 14 years and he didn't eat a single grain or drink a single drop of water for 14 years. Such a person qualified to kill Indrajit. So Ram said, oh, really? So, but how was Lakshmana brahmachari? He was with Sita anyways. He may not, he's Sita's brother-in-law, but he was still looking at Sita, right? Agastya said he never looked at Sita. He always looked at her lotus feet. Okay, fine. But what about eating? Every single day for 14 years while we were in the forest, I kept giving Lakshmana a fruit. Every day I gave him a fruit. So that means, how is he a nirahari? He ate. Agastya said, let's ask Lakshman what he did with the fruit. They turned to Lakshman. Ram said, well, every day I gave you a fruit, right? 14 years. 14 years, 365 days. I gave you a fruit every day. He said, well, when you gave me the fruit, you just said, take it. You didn't say, eat it. So I just took the fruit. I never ate it. And so Ram said, what did you do with the fruit? Said, I just threw away the fruits in the forest. He said, for 14 years I didn't eat, I didn't drink. And then Ram said to Hanuman, if those fruits have been touched by the hands of Lakshman, they are eternal fruits. They probably are lying all around the forest. Go and collect all these fruits and bring. So Hanuman flew all the way to all the places where Ram and Sita and Lakshman have been living, brought all these fruits to Lord Ram, and now Lord Ram said, "You are the chief accountant, count it." So he counted all the fruits, and there were 4 fruits less. So Ram said to Agastya, "How is he Nirahari?" All fruits he threw. That means 4 days the fruits I gave, he ate those 4 fruits, right? So Agastya said, "Ask him. Ask Lakshman what he did with those fruits." So when Agastya asked Lakshman, "What happened to those fruits? Four fruits are less." Lakshman said, "On those 4 days, you did not give me the fruits." And which were those 4 days? First was the day when our father Dashrath left the body. You didn't eat, and because you didn't eat, you didn't give me the fruit. Second was the day when Sita was kidnapped. You didn't eat, and you didn't give me the fruit. Third day was when I was hit by the Shakti weapon and I was unconscious. You didn't eat, and you didn't give me the fruit. And the fourth thing, even Bhakti Charu Maharaj could not remember at that time on the class, so I don't know what it is. So when His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj comes to London, you may ask him that we heard the story that you quoted, but we don't know what the fourth thing is. So Ramayana teaches us application, learning from Ram, learning from Lakshman, the applications of service. Mahabharat, on the other hand, is not a book that just meant for appreciation and application. That book is meant for analysis. So whereas Krishna's pastimes in the Bhagavatam are to be appreciated, whereas Lord Ram's pastimes in the Ramayana are meant to be applied, the Mahabharata is a book for deep analysis. In this book, for a long time, Krishna remains in the background. We see the Bhagavat, Krishna is in the foreground, hero of the Bhagavatam. That is the Ashraya Tattva of the Bhagavatam. We see in the Ramayana, Ram is the hero in the foreground. But when we see the Mahabharata, we see Krishna as a part of the book, but he most of the time remains in the background till a long time you don't even hear about Krishna. And then when Krishna comes in and out, but you see the heroes of this book are the Pandavas. Krishna gives credit to his devotees. In the Mahabharata, we see the heroes of this book. Krishna doesn't show his heroship there. All heroship in Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwarka, 10th canto. Of course, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But even on the battlefield, in a hidden mystical way, where everything is done by Arjuna and the Pandavas. And then he says, "Yeah, actually you shoot your arrows. As Kala, I am destroying everyone." You know. And therefore, the Mahabharata is a book which is meant for deep introspection and analysis, because there is no straight conclusion. Mahabharata is not a book of conclusion. It is a book of confusion. You know, every single time you read the story of Draupadi being disrobed, and you're thinking, why is this great Mahajan Bhishma quiet? How could he remain quiet? Why is Dronacharya, who is man of such integrity, a Brahmana with the knowledge of the Vedas, why is he quiet? And then you start analyzing. Prabhupada explains, oh, they ate the salt of the Kauravas. Bhishma and Drona and... really? And then you find Prabhupada in some other purport commenting something else. And you're saying, which one is true? Therefore, Mahabharata seems to be a more confusing book than a conclusive book. Thus, Bhagavat, appreciation. Ramayana, application. Mahabharata, analysis. What is moral? What is immoral? What do you think? What is moral? What is immoral? There is a constant conflict between morality, immorality. Constant conflict in the Mahabharata. And the classic one is the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So easy to discriminate between good and bad, isn't it? Moral and immoral. If we have a standard of what is dharma, we can say, okay, this is good, this is bad. How many of us here, or how many people who are objective would say that Ravan was good? Let's forget devotees. Let's forget the Hare Krishna devotees. Let us forget Hindus. Let us forget Indians. Let us forget the followers of Sanatan Dharma and the Vedas. Let us just look at objective analysis of the personality of Ravan without giving the name Ravan. We won't even call him Ravan, let's just give an analysis of that to any person in the world and he will say, this is wrong. It's an objective analysis. And anyone hears the analysis of Ram and say, okay, he's doing the right things. Objective. Anyone talks about Krishna and Kamsa analyzes personality, wrong. Krishna, how he established dharma, well, question mark, whether right or not. Yudhishthir, anyone would say right. Duryodhana, anyone would say wrong. Therefore, when it's a difference between good and bad, that analysis is very easy. To conclude is very easy. But when the conflict is between good and good, my God, that is the trouble. How many of you would say that Ravan should have lived? Ram shouldn't have killed Ravan. None of us would say he should be killed. Kamsa should have not been killed by no one. None of us would say that. But when there is a conflict between good and good, when good people come together and good people have differences for a good purpose and there is a conflict, to resolve that conflict is definitely a challenge. And therefore we see even in our ISKCON society, when we have amazing devotees, good devotees, with a good purpose, for a good cause, coming together, but with their individualities, that is Pandava Sena. That is the Pandavas, isn't it? Yudhishthir, so different. Anything, give it away. Don't worry. Let's part with it. Detachment, renunciation, forgive, dharma, religious principles. And Bhima, to hell! What are you talking dharma? Look at what's happening to our wife Draupadi. I'm going to go and pounce on this guy and rip off the chest of this Dushasana right now. What a different man, What a different man. Arjun, stuck between Yudhishthir and Bhima many times. You know the story of Ashwatthama, right? Stuck, what should I do? Kill? Arjun's thinking, kill Ashwatthama? Or Draupadi and Yudhishthir say no. Bhima says yes. Stuck. So many different personalities. When good people with different individual natures come together for a good and a higher cause, there is bound to be conflict in decision making. How to make those decisions? How to resolve those conflicts? Therefore, Mahabharat is a very interesting book. It brings up these principles and helps us analyze the whole situation and makes us think. And that's what many times we don't want to do. They tell us straight. When we don't want to think, then Mahabharata is not a great book to read. We want to think a lot deeply and analyze the whole subject matter, then I think Mahabharata becomes a very powerful literature, because every now and then there is a conflict between good and good. Moral and immoral is easy, But moral and moral is very difficult. How many of us have faced this challenge? There is a service to do, there is a class to listen. I want to go for the class, but I also have to do the service. How to prioritize? The mission, there is a call of the mission that I have to go for my service and forward Srila Prabhupada's mission. And there is also a facility to go and reside in India in the holy Dham of Vrindavan and settle and chant Hare Krishna and focus on Krishna. Both are right. What to do? That conflicting situation is what confuses us. How to make those decisions. Mahabharat gives us pointers. So this book, what I'm discussing today, is just a perspective. You can't say right, wrong. It's very hard to say right, wrong easily. And most often we fall into that trap as devotees. We always want to go by right, wrong, justice, injustice. And when we fall into that trap, we miss the shades of grey between the black and white. And decisions cannot be made based on right and wrong and black and white. There is a lot of shades between black and white, and all of these shades have to be taken into account. That is why the analysis of Mahabharata becomes a very important aspect of studying the Mahabharata, which is what makes it an exciting book. And hopefully in the next couple of talks, we will be able to bring out a few of these dimensions. Different devotees will bring out different dimensions, and we'll have some pointers into life. Uh, you know what? Life, somehow or the other, is funny. If you see Arjun, when Arjun released the Brahmastra, Ashwatthama, to kill the 5 sons of Draupadi, he released the Brahmastra. What was the problem of Arjun? Ashwatthama? Ashwatthama only knew how to release the Brahmastra. He did not know how to withdraw it. Dronacharya had not given him the knowledge of withdrawing the Brahmastra. So it was half knowledge only, and half knowledge is dangerous. So he released the Brahmastra to kill the 5 sons of Draupadi. And when Krishna told him, now, you withdraw the Brahmastra, he did not know how to do it. And therefore it had to be directed to the womb of Uttara. Whereas Arjun, he had the knowledge how to release the Brahmastra and how to withdraw it as well. And therefore Madhvacharya, in his commentary on the Mahabharata, explains that devotees should learn how to be like Arjun, not like Ashwatthama. The Brahmastra is like the senses. Some people only know how to release the senses. People in the world only know how to release the senses towards the sense objects. Like Ashwatthama knows how to release the Brahmastra. But if one knows how to release the Brahmastra and doesn't know how to withdraw it back, then one is in trouble. And therefore when we interact with the sense objects and allow the senses to interact with the objects of this world, if we do not know how to withdraw our senses, there is a difficulty there. Whereas Arjun had the ability. Release the Brahmastra, withdraw it as well. Similarly, a devotee, Madhvacharya explains, knows how to release his senses in service to Krishna and also knows how to withdraw those senses when required. Thus, Mahabharata teaches 3 essential principles: knowledge, love, and detachment. Knowledge of the soul, love for God, and detachment from the objects of this world, to be like the Brahmastra, know when to use them and know when to withdraw them and not get affected. Therefore, knowledge of the soul, love for God, and detachment from the world, which is not to get affected by these things. And thus, too many complexities in this book. We will try to discuss 1 or 2 stories today and see the conflict between good and good, high and higher, moral and moral. The story of the Mahabharata begins with the character Shantanu, the emperor of the planet, Maharaj Shantanu. And Shantanu walks around, such a powerful king, such a noble king, leading the kingdom by the principles of virtue and dharma. Man, Kshatriya, every man has a psychophysical nature, and particularly in Kshatriya the mode of passion is prominent. So he's walking by the river Ganga and sees Ganga and is so thoroughly charmed by the appealing looks of Ganga. And it is love at first sight. And like I say, in the modern world it's love at first sight and many times divorce at first fight. Somehow. It was love at first sight. Shantanu just got so thoroughly attracted to Ganga, he went and proposed to her. Will you get married to me? Ganga said, absolutely fine. No problem. I'm happy getting married to you. The only thing is I have some conditions. It was a dangerous one. All other conditions are fine. This condition was, whatever I do, no questions asked. It's a dangerous one, Whatever I do, he said, I'm willing to get married to you. Whatever I do, can't ask me any questions. And Shantanu was so much completely charmed by her. And that's why, when one is obsessed, one can't see the consequences. And it's not just being obsessed in terms of the opposite sex. Being obsessed with anything in this world. Obsession makes a person blind to the consequences. Obsession makes the person blind to the ground realities of the world. When one's mind is just obsessed, whether it's money, whether it's a person, whether it's a position, and we have seen, the history of the world is replete with examples of people who have been obsessed to gain something, and they don't mind doing anything. They don't mind engaging in obnoxious, immoral things to get what they are obsessed with, whether it's power, position, money, whatever it is. Shantanu, Because he was so obsessed, so absolutely infatuated by Ganga's beauty, when she said, okay, I'm willing to get married to you, but my condition is no questions asked. He said, yes, madam. Done. Promise to you. Whatever you say, I'll do it. And if I will never question any of your activities, words, actions. And I said, fine. No problem. A lot of people in the world say your Hindu religion, your Vedic religion, your Sanatan religion, your scriptures are all just some wishy-washy mythology. It's some idiocy. Because how can a man get attracted to a river? How can a man get attracted to a river? You know, we say Ganga Putra Bhishma. Ganga Putra Bhishma, the son of a river, Ganga. We say Parvati. Parvati comes from the word Parvat, the daughter of a mountain, Parvati. Parvat and Parvati, the daughter of a mountain. A lot of people have trouble accepting these things, you know. What are you talking about? The daughter of a mountain, the son of a river. Vedic culture is amazing. Because behind everything there is a personality. Srila Prabhupada gave so much emphasis to the personal culture of the Vedic literatures. Jai Shri Radha Gokulanand ki, Jai Shri Sitaram Lakshmana Hanumanji ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Jai. Srila Prabhupada therefore gave so much importance to personalism. Modern culture means, what is modern culture? Even people are treated as things. Used as things. And what is the Vedic culture? Even things are treated as a person. Even behind water, we have a personality. Ganga Devi, obviously he was not attracted to river. It was a personality. Obviously the daughter of the Parvat is a personified person. There's a personality behind the mountain. Srila Prabhupada was so emphatic about these personal things, you know. One time a devotee was sitting and doing his service, and he happened to kick the typewriter which was on the floor. And Srila Prabhupada saw this, and he did not like it at all. And he said how that thing has to be treated with dignity because it is Krishna's energy. Once Srila Prabhupada was entered into a room and a devotee was sticking, stamps on an envelope. Putting stamps on an envelope. And you know how it is. It's just easier to, I don't know how many of you have done it, but just easier to quickly just lick the stamp on the back and stick it there. So this devotee, he was doing this. And Prabhupada saw this. And Prabhupada said, what is this? You should not do this. This is not proper. You should use water. And so Prabhupada showed him. So he took a bowl of water. And there were many these letters, Prabhupada's letters, so he was posting the stamps. So he took this water and sticking those stamps on the envelope. And just the last stamp was left. And the water got over. Now he was so lazy to get up and, last one stamp. What difference it makes? Now go get up. So he thought, what difference it makes? So he put the stamp to the tongue and Prabhupada opened the door. And Prabhupada walked in and saw that he was... And Prabhupada said, didn't I tell you that you should not do something like that? I heard one very senior devotee once say, when he was doing a yajna, he was telling his assistant, please feed the fire. It's an amazing thing, Please feed the fire. Because behind the flames of the fire is a personality, Agnidev. And therefore, you see, Vedic culture means even treating things as a person. And Srila Prabhupada, how strong he was on how to treat things as Krishna's energy and not waste them, So here was Shantanu, got married to Ganga, and first child, she went and drowned in the waters, her own waters. Second child and Shantanu standing there watching. All the obsession and everything is over, and now the consequences are right here at hand. In that obsession, promise that I will not ask you a single question. How does he ask this question? Quiet. 7 children are killed. And now he's stuck between two things. And we will see this as the consistent theme of Mahabharat. Constantly every individual is stuck between decision making. Shantanu is stuck. What is dharma? I have promised Ganga, I will never ask her a single question. I am a Kshatriya. And as a Kshatriya, whatever promise is made has to be maintained. I cannot break my word as a Kshatriya. High principle. And high, and then there is higher. What is higher? The higher principle is, should I allow these children to just die? A choice. A conflict of choices. Which dharma should be followed? A lower dharma or a higher dharma? And all of us would very easily give an answer. He should just follow the higher dharma. Sometimes I feel, unless we have empathy, we cannot go through the emotions of the person. It's easy to have sympathy. Very difficult to have empathy. Unless one is right there, unless one has gone through it, we can sit in a class, discuss, analyze the theory part of it, but the feeling part of it, they have gone through it. They have gone through the feeling part of it. Therefore, it is very easy to sympathize with someone. Someone's been abused, someone's beaten, something happened. It's very easy to give sympathy. Very difficult to have empathy. If we have not gone through it, we will never know. And we can sit here and keep saying, he should have done like this, no? They should have just done it this way. If we would have just done it this way, things would have been better. If these decisions would have been made this way, things would have been better. Do we really understand the dynamics of that particular situation at that time? If we are unaware of the dynamics of the situation at that particular time, to sit and analyze the whole situation and say, this is what they should have done. Shantanu, it's simple to say, isn't it? He should have just saved the children. He should have broken the promise. Or he should have kept the promise. He should have just let the children go. So easy, but so difficult to have empathy and understand the feelings of that particular person. Of course, we know Shantanu made the decision of questioning Ganga. He went ahead to break the promise and questioned Ganga. As the 8th child was born, the 7 children were drowned. For the 8th child, Shantanu came and held the hand of Ganga as Ganga was drowning the 8th child into the waters and said, "What the hell is this? What kind of a ruthless mother are you?" The softest heart is the heart of a mother. A lady may have affection for the husband. That's one flavor of the affection. One may have affection for different people of this world, parents, brothers, siblings, but the affection that a woman feels for the child, motherly affection. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada said, motherly love is the closest love to Krishna. A devotee loving Krishna. Closest in this world. And men can never understand it. They can only have sympathy. They can never have empathy. Meaning me, not they. We. I'm sorry. Otherwise everyone is questioning, who are you? I'm sorry. We as men can never have empathy. Understanding what a mother actually feels for the child. So Shantanu is saying, what are you doing? A ruthless mother drowning this 8th child. Ganga said, here's your child, I'm going, goodbye. You had said that, you're not going to ask a single question. And you ended up asking a question. I'm going. There is a high dharma to keep promise. There is a higher dharma to save the child. But there is a highest dharma. There is high, there is higher, there is highest. High is, as a Kshatriya, I must keep my promise. Higher is, I have to save a child. What is the highest? The highest is Paradharma, Bhagavad Dharma, Krishna's will. And Srila Prabhupada would always ask us and implore us to analyze any story or pastime from 2 points of view. If we don't analyze these pastimes from 2 points of view, we are confused. What are the 2 points of view? One is the human side of their personality. Second is the Krishna's will side of the story. When we see there is a highest perspective of how Krishna wants this to happen, then where is the question? If the Mahabharat has to come, the Gita has to be spoken. Principles of dharma have to be established again. Then there has to be a villain, there has to be a hero. So when you look at it from the highest perspective of Bhagavad Dharma, that it is Krishna's will, then the whole story is just Krishna's will and we learn nothing out of it. Therefore, when we keep Krishna's will aside and look at it from a human point of view, then we see the difference between high and higher. Constantly stuck between high and higher. Here's a high principle, here's a higher principle. How to make the choice? The highest principle, of course, is Krishna's will. And in our life also, we will be stuck between high and higher. And we try to make these decisions based on that. And we must, based on proper guidance from matured Vaishnavas, our gurus, our mentors and guides, we must try and make those decisions. But at a certain point of time, the highest principle is just Krishna's will. And many times in the Krishna consciousness movement, we may end up forgetting Krishna's will. And get stuck up just between the high and the higher, the right and the higher right. And therefore, here we find there is a will of Krishna. There is a will of Krishna as well. And what is the highest principle there? The eight vasus have been cursed, the Ashtavasus, and they have all meant to be delivered. And the eighth vasu is meant to live on planet Earth, to become a Mahajan, to be a part of the Mahabharat war. You know, we look at it from that perspective as well. In any case, he makes the decision of questioning Ganga. Ganga takes the child away. He's named Devavrata. And then when the child is grown, she brings him back to Shantanu. Trained up, young, handsome, ready for it all, principle-based, studied all the scriptures under Ganga. And now, as he comes back, Shantanu is besides himself in joy. Finally, my son is here. And then one day, as he's just walking by the river Ganga again, he's missing Ganga a lot, and he finds another lady, Satyavati, the daughter of a fisherwoman, and he's charmed by her. Was it wrong, right? Good, bad? Kshatriya man. The mode of passion is strong. Therefore, Prabhupada said in those days, Kshatriyas were allowed polygamy. Why? Because the mode of passion is very strong. He was so attracted. He went to her and she was so fragrant. He said, "You are a fisherwoman? And you are so fragrant? How? Secret. I can't tell you. I can't reveal it to you." And here is Satyavati spending time with Shantanu, and Shantanu is stuck. The son should be in love at that time. The teenage son, Devavrata, is meant to be in love. It's time for retirement for the father. But it's quite the opposite. Father is in love and son is there, and the father comes back home and is lost. So the son says, "Are you in love, Papa?" What a story, isn't it? Exciting story. Is there something? Is there something in your mind that's disturbing you? Can I do something to alleviate your pangs, because I see that you're not here? You're not at home. You know, when the mind is occupied by something, we are not there. All of us have experienced it. When there is anxiety, worry, obsession, infatuation, desire, we are not there. So immediately, Shantanu said, "Nothing, my dear son, nothing, don't worry." And of course, Devavrata got to know. He did get to know what was happening. So he said to his father, "Don't worry, I'll take care of it." And when he approached Satyavati, "Can you get married to my father?" What a matchmaking, isn't it? The son goes to fix the match between the father and his new mother, to-be mother. Quite a story. Quite a dramatic story. And if you read Krishna Dharma Prabhu's book, it's written so well, it's like a novel, you go through it. Just so captivating. And here is Devavrata making a proposal for his father. And Satyavati, there's a problem with Satyavati. She is the problem case of the Mahabharat, according to a lot of scholars, devotees who have analyzed the Mahabharat. Her ambition, the ambition of Satyavati, is the cause of the whole Mahabharat. The beginning of the Mahabharat story is the ambition of Satyavati. In particular, the father of Satyavati. Getting married was not a problem. If he was get married to Satyavati and have children, that's not a problem. But the father and Satyavati both alike felt, if I get married to Shantanu, and if the child is born, what is the guarantee that the child will get the throne? The whole story of the Mahabharata is ambition for the throne. It is ambition for power. It is ambition for position. It's ambition for facility. It's ambition for gratification. And Satyavati is completely overwhelmed by this ambition. Why not? She's never had opulence in her life. She's been the daughter of a fisherman. It's easy for wealthy people, rich people to say you should be detached. People who have a lot can say, it's all okay, it's all temporary, it's all meaningless, it's easy. Someone who has done it all, seen it all and done it all can say, it's okay. But someone who is not, for them, it's such a challenge. Therefore, even in our movement, most of our teenager kids, it's easy for us to tell them, stay away from all of these things. We have seen it all and done it all when we were teens. And now when we tell them, they're saying, Mama, wait a minute. Well, you were a young woman, what did you do? Tell me first. So for Satyavati, with that strong ambition in her mind, the condition was made very clear. I cannot get married to you because I am not convinced yet. If Devavrata gets married and his child, Devavrata may say, I won't be the king, let your son be the king. But what if his children in the future do this? And Devavrata, now don't look at him from a highest dharma. Let's not look at him from the Mahajan's perspective. Let us look at him from the human perspective. He made the greatest mistake of his life. He decided to take the vow of being a celibate, brahmachari. He said, I take a vow that I shall not get married and I shall not beget a child, and my allegiance is to the throne of Hastinapur. I'll not get married. Why was it called a mistake? Stuck between two rights again. One is the personal life of his father. Second is the well-being of thousands and thousands of people in the world, millions of people in the world. Both are right, isn't it? Both are correct. To take care of your father and to be emotionally connected to the father, to fulfill the father's desire. Of course, nowadays it can't happen, Prabhupada described. It's a Kshatriya and therefore Kshatriyas were allowed these things earlier. That's alright. It's a very personal family affair. And then there is a whole huge thing in terms of being responsible for thousands and millions of people in the world. And here was decision making again. High and higher. It's a high principle to see what you can do, your service to the father and the family. And a higher principle, service to humanity. How to make that decision. Stuck there again. And we find, if it was someone else, fine, but someone like Devavrata, who was now Bhishma, because of his vow, he was the leader. And leaders cannot make choices simply based on personal preferences. Leaders have to look at the benefit of the world, benefit of everyone at large. And therefore again we find this conflicting situation. And Bhishma, of course, Devavrata makes the choice of, going for taking that vow. And according to Madhvacharya and many other acharyas, this was the one from the human point of view. From a Mahajan's point of view, highest is Krishna's will. When you see Krishna's will, then everyone is a pawn in the game. But when you look at it from a human perspective, then we see, yes, this was the one mistake that he made, and that mistake led to the whole Mahabharata. Satyavati's ambition and Bhishma's, Devavrata's promise, vow, led to the whole Mahabharata. Because if he wouldn't have made that vow, then when Satyavati would have requested you, please conceive a child, and the whole thing story, we know how it goes ahead, would have probably been done. And therefore, 10th canto for appreciation, Ramayana for application, Mahabharata for analysis, where we analyze the subtle nuances of this story and understand these principles and move ahead. So there is a high dharma, a higher dharma, the highest dharma. All our decisions, of course, have to be based on the highest dharma of pleasing Krishna and Krishna's will. But in our life, we also have to make an effort, based on our guidance of the devotees, to choose between a high and a higher principle. If we just wait for Krishna's will to happen, we are not going to do anything in our lives. So we play our part, and after having tried everything, when we know nothing's going to work, we know that it's all, we've done it all, tried it all, then we know there is Krishna's will at the end of the day. And we are just being used as a pawn in Krishna's will. So I think we will proceed tomorrow. Krishna Dharma Prabhu will throw more light on the subject of the Mahabharat. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you.